Hello. We had to leave off somewhat abruptly last time as we were talking about Perseus wanting to get back to Greece to bring the head of Medusa to Polydectes. And we talked about the fact that he was flying by this coastal town and he sees a naked woman chained to a rock. And we hadn't quite finished figuring out, well, why is that happening? So we started talking about the fact that her mother, Queen Cassiopeia, had boasted that she, meaning Queen Cassiopeia, was as beautiful as the sea nymphs. And, another example of hubris, at which point I almost can't help but say, do these people never learn? Right? We've seen many examples of that in mythology so far, and there's other examples that we will see later, but it's just like, man, it's the one thing you don't want to do, and that's what the mom does. By the way, there's Andromeda, there's Perseus, and pay no attention to the other thing in that picture there. Now, since Cassiopeia boasted like this, the sea nymphs find out, hey, this lady's saying that she's as pretty as we are. And so they go to Poseidon. They say, hey, can you please defend our honor? Please get revenge for us. And so what he does is he sends a flood. Not surprising that we've seen that before, right? Remember with the contest for naming or for having the protector of the city of Athens. And he flooded Athens in his anger. So he sends a flood and a sea monster. And the king, he's like, gosh, got a flood. Every time people go on the beach, there's a monster that's down there that's eating people. And so he consults the oracle. And the oracle says, hey, the sea monster's only going to go away if you sacrifice your daughter. And so we see yet again, and we've seen this theme several times as well, that the children suffer for the sins of their parents. And unfortunately, that is just one of those things. But it's just interesting, too, and that might be a question to post soon on the Google Classroom is, wow, what are some examples that we see of this in the modern day? I mean, obviously, modern day, we don't see people being sacrificed to sea monsters, but I think you could very easily make the case that there are ways in which, in our society, in our culture, children suffer for the misdeeds of their parents. So Perseus, our guy Perseus, rescues Andromeda. And the thing of it is we want to have him pull out the head of Medusa and lithify the sea monster, but he doesn't. He just cuts off its head, and it dies. So she is then given to him as his wife. Sort of a happy ending to this tale for the two of them. Here's another one of those more modern pictures, and notice there he is. Again, not really a scimitar. It's more like a machete, really, but there he is fighting the sea monster while she watches. Now, there's just one little problem with them getting married, and that is that Andromeda is already engaged. And strangely enough, she is engaged to her uncle. And we've seen stuff like this before, too. But as I say, maybe that's better than a sea monster. I don't know. And interestingly enough, this guy obviously wasn't out there to rescue her when the sea monster was coming. So now that that's all taken care of, then he says, oh, I still want to marry my niece, which seems funny to say. Anyway, he comes to the palace with soldiers to fight Perseus for the right to continue to marry Andromeda. And this time Perseus says, hey, wait, I've got other weapons in my arsenal. He pulls out Medusa's head and lithifies them. So this time is one of those things of, wait a minute, I don't have to just use my sword. I have a weapon of mass lithification here. So there it is right there. He's showing the head to the guys who are coming to fight him. And I think we will stop on that note.